Everybody, my name's Ed. Sorry, excuse me. Okay, so we're going to do another random comic book review. This one's going to be more of a deep dive here. So it's going to be Captain America and the Falcon, number 143 from 1971, Power to the People. Basically, this is a double-sized issue published in 1971 by Marvel Comics. The issue is basically Captain America and the Falcon, who has become Cap's sidekick by the time, trying to wrestle with the Black Power movement and racial unrest in New York. Okay, so as the comic opens, Cap, the Falcon, Sharon Carter, and Nick Fury are flying home from a mission where they've just defeated the Great Gargoyle. They debrief, and Cap and Falcon go back to their civilian identities. Cap as Steve Rogers as a policeman, Falcon as Sam Wilson as a social worker in Harlem. And at the precinct, Steve is introduced to a local black reverend named Garcia. Garcia runs a local boys center and wants Steve to visit to speak to the kids. Sam runs into a more militant black activist and potential love interest named Leela Taylor, who's openly hostile to the white establishment. Leela convinces Sam to attend a Black Power rally, and Sam realizes that the mass leader of the rally is encouraging people to do violence, and he's directly, excuse me, his followers into attacking the boys' center and causing a riot in the city. Cap and the Falcon try to stop the militants and the police from having a riot by asking for 1 hour to prove that they're all being manipulated. And the two heroes unmask the leader of the black militants, who turns out to be actually an old villain in disguise. Okay, so a bit of context here. So the comic came out during what a lot of people think of as the height of the civil rights movement in America. And I'd say civil rights in America has a long history going back generations. You could probably, excuse me, even make an argument that the civil rights struggle really goes back loosely from post-Reconstruction era going forward. But most commonly, when people think of the civil rights era, they're vaguely thinking about maybe the 50s, 60s, early 70s. During that period, we had sit-ins, freedom rides, SNCC, the Watts riots, assassinations of Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X. And the focus of these activists was mostly about integration and anti-segregation. Excuse me, I'd say towards the late 60s through about maybe up to about 1980-ish, there was kind of a more strident form of the civil rights movement emerging, and that was kind of like the Black Power movement, which was a little bit more upfront. It was more about black independence, freedom from poverty and economic oppression. The movement was all about embracing Afrocentric cultures, fighting capitalism to some extent, and just basically challenging the white power structure. So this is the political climate in which the comic was published. Okay, so. Sorry, excuse me. So it's 1971, and Friedrich, etc., were trying to, tap into various social, political, and pop culture zeitgeists at the time. The title of the story is "Power to the People," which was a popular catchphrase at that time. It was originally associated with Black liberation movements, but it spread to be used by broader anti-establishment movements. John Lennon, a few months earlier, had released a song with that title, and the comic even includes a quote from it. Leela Taylor seems to be patterned after maybe Angela Davis, Kathleen Cleaver type female activist. Reverend Garcia is maybe the more MLK-ish, peaceful civil rights leader. Steve and Sharon are kind of the white liberals that sympathize with the black struggle. But they're not too sure if they're a little uncertain about their role in it. And the story very much tries to make a distinction between the more, acceptable or peaceful, what have you, integrationist form of black civil rights versus the more scary black radical militancy that was in the news at the time. Now, this book has a lot of slurs in it. Leela and the other black militants call Sam Wilson They call him an Uncle Tom. There's a number of uses of anti-white slurs like, honky and whitey. The comic portrays black militants as being fooled by a villain who really just only wants to spread hate and violence. And yeah, it kind of says something because again, you don't get like I said, you have the more scary black radicals being kind of manipulated, and you really don't get that much into. And I'll talk about this in a moment. You just don't get that much into a systemic or policy breakdowns or anything like that. So yeah, having said that, it is a double-sized issue. It gives the story some space, and even so, it's still pretty dense. So the writing, it's I think it's pretty decent. Most of it's pretty straightforward. I wouldn't say, like I said, it's a systemic breakdown of all the various issues, but there is an attempt at some nuance. There's a bit of the Marvel-style superhero soap opera melodrama, but then again, of course, we also get a lot of action as well. Some of the dialogue is a little stiff due to the exposition style of comics at the time. That is, what you get is a fair amount of people over explaining things to each other and to themselves. And not to mention there's some kind of dated attempts at using slang. However, there is a decent attempt to give, like I said, the characters somewhat of a well-rounded personalities and try to make them introspective, okay? And now the art here is classic John Romita. It's solid figure work, fashion work. You got some Kirby-inspired action scenes. Detailed rendering is there. But it's not overwhelming. It looks like John's probably done his own inks here. So again, you get a lot of solid blacks. You got some good background, depth, and perspective, and it's very much kind of what I think of when I think of that kind of classic Bronze Age Marvel house style. Now the masthead on here, let's see here, you get the Falcon actually wearing his new costume, which was designed by Romita, but Sam doesn't actually wear it until the next issue. So, and this is kind of funny too. It looks like the police captain here at the precinct, it looks like Romita has kind of modeled him after Jack Kirby, I think, here. Okay. Okay, all right. So, sorry, without giving too much away, Captain America: The Falcon, 143. It's a pretty interesting comic. It's pretty much definitely a product of its time. It does provide an interesting, reflection of the moment. It deals with some interesting issues about, race and protest and violence. Gary Friedrich writing, it's decent enough, although not perfect, but that's fine. Like I said, it's pretty typical of the type of writing or storytelling you might have gotten at the time. And the script works along with some good solid work by John Romita. And I think, I'm not sure, he might have been the art director maybe around this time or maybe right after this, 71. I know at some point during the 70s, John became the art director down there at Marvel. So, okay, all right. So yeah, I don't want to give too much away here. Okay, so then that's it. I got to thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. And you guys have a great day. Thanks.